Welcome back to my TV show review series. Today's episode I'll be reviewing the 2017 Disney XD series, and this one is DuckTales. No wonder I found a reboot that was better than Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Girls from 2017. The show was originally aired on Disney XD, Disney Channel, originally streamed on Disney Life, and currently streaming on Disney+, Hulu, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime Video. After not speaking to each other for 10 years, Donald Duck reunites with his estranged uncle, business mogul and former adventurer Scrooge McDuck, when he asks him to babysit his three triplet nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, for the day. After accidentally releasing and defeating a few ancient evils, Scrooge regains his sense of adventure and invites Donald and the triplets to live at McDuck Manor with him, along with his housekeeper Mrs. Beakley and her granddaughter Webby Vanderquack. Together, along with Scrooge's chauffeur and pilot Launchpad McQuack, the Ducks go on many new treasure-hunting expeditions and globe-trotting adventures while contending with villains like Flintheart Glomgold, Ma Beagle and the Beagle Boys, Magica Dispel, and Mark Beaks. The writing for this reboot is just as solid as the original, if not better. It still has the same sense of fun and adventure that the original had, as well as some more witty and self-aware humor, but this iteration also has some pretty strong heart, solid world building, and some intriguing drama and mystery. Also, like the original, while it can be more episodic for the most part, there is a pretty solid overarching plot throughout the entire run. There's also some neat callbacks, crossovers, and references to other Disney afternoon shows like Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, and Goof Troop. The series has a good amount of well-crafted episodes such as Woo-Oh, Day Trip of Doom, The Beagle Birthday Massacre, Terror of the Terrafermians, The Spear of Selene, Jaw Dollar, From the Confidential Case Files of Agent 22, Sky Pirates... in the Sky, The Last Crash of the Sun Chaser, The Shadow War, The Town Where Everyone Was Nice, Last Christmas, Whatever Happened to Della Duck, Friendship Hates Magic, Treasure of the Found Lamp, The Golden Spear, Nothing Can Stop Della Duck, The Duck Knight Returns, A Nightmare on Kill Motor Hill, The Richest Duck in the World, Invasion, Quack Pack, You Only Crash Twice, The Phantom and the Sorceress, The Trickening, Let's Get Dangerous, Escape from the Impossible Bin, The First Adventure, The Lost Cargo of Kid Cloud Kicker, and The Last Adventure. The action scenes are thankfully just as fun and exciting as they were in the original, but this time around they can also get pretty suspenseful and intense, such as Scrooge and his allies facing off against one of the show's villains, escaping from life or death situations, and getting chased down by someone. And on top of that, this series still has the original's sense of adventure with all the treasure hunting and globe-trotting. While the humor in the original was more basic but still pretty funny, the reboot's sense of humor is more witty and satirical, and though they don't all land, a vast majority of the jokes do hit bullseyes, such as the witty banter and dialogue between the characters, some of the more wacky shenanigans they get into, some of the gags, slapstick, and in-jokes, and some of the adult jokes. This iteration of the series has one thing that the original didn't: intriguing drama and storytelling, and this is mainly shown with the nephews' quest to find their long-lost mother, Lena, and her moral conflict, and some characters making sacrifices. There's also the more heartwarming relationships between certain characters. The animation is amazingly well crafted, as while the original's animation was more so their more traditional TV animation during that time. The animation here has a very stylized look that looks very similar to a comic book. The characters all have very solid designs and pretty fluid movements. The backgrounds are very impressive and do have some solid detail, and there is some great effects work provided. The characters are all incredibly likable and solid, and they have some pretty solid chemistry, dynamics, and development. Scrooge is still a very likable protagonist, as while he can be selfish at times and can seem uncaring, he does have a heart of gold, as he does care for his nephews and loved ones very much, and he does also maintain his daring and brave sense of adventure. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are also pretty likable, as they're more than just the standard kid characters like in the original. Here, they still are prone to causing and getting into trouble, but they do have the same sense of adventure that their uncle has, and this time around, they have more distinct personalities, like Huey being more intelligent and logical, Dewey being the most excitable and adventurous, and Louie being more cunning and laid back. The rest of the characters are also very solid and likable thanks to their chemistry and varying personality traits and quirks. And while some remain pretty similar to the original, like Launchpad still being somewhat clumsy but still friendly, and Gizmoduck still being a solid ally, the rest, like Webby, are more likable than her original counterpart by having her be more quirky and hyperactive, Mrs. Beakley being a secret badass, and even Donald gets into more adventures this time around, and he's still just as anger-prone as he is caring. There's also some other characters who return from the original, like Scrooge's old flame Goldie, his old colleague Ludwig von Drake, and even Gene the Genie from the movie. There's also some new characters introduced in this version that are pretty likable, like the boy's adventurous and very loving mother Della, the street-smart and seemingly carefree Lena, and the alien spy Penumbra. The villains of this interpretation that Scrooge and CO encounter are more serious and determined this time around, although they do still have their occasional funny moments, like the Beagle Boys being more focused with their goals, Glomgold being more comically unhinged but still a formidable foe, the organization FOWL being more of a serious threat, and Magica being more manipulative and vile. There's also some new villains that the crew face off against, like the egotistical Mark Beaks, and the vengeful and resentful General Lunaries. There's also guest, cameo appearances of characters from other Disney afternoon shows like Chip, Dale, Gadget, Monterey, and Zipper from Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, Gosalyn, Negaduck, and Steelbeak from Darkwing Duck, Kit and Don Carnage from Tailspin, Goofy based on his appearance in Goof Troop, and even Bonkers makes a quick cameo. The voice acting is really good and does result in the voice actors giving some solid performances, like David Tennant as Scrooge, Danny Pudi as Huey, Ben Schwartz as Dewey, Bobby Moynihan as Louie, Kate Micucci as Webby, Beck Bennett as Launchpad, Toxo Legundo as Mrs. Beakley, Tony Anselmo as Donald, Paget Brewster as Della, Kimiko Glenn as Lena, Keith Ferguson as Glomgold, Catherine Tate as Magica, Allison Janney as Goldie, and many more. The music for this series is well done, as the musical score is well composed and does capture the show's adventurous, action-packed, and suspenseful tone. And yes, the theme song does also return in a neat new rendition, and it's still just as catchy. Verdict: 9 out of 10. While the reboots like Teen Titans Go, The Powerpuff Girls, and Alvin and the Chipmunks are failures, this one as the reboot, especially with Animaniacs from 2020, was done pretty good.